Hello everyone, welcome to the Sportscast with me, Andy Grant. I've got Gary Judge with me from Across the Park podcast, and this is your weekly Sportscast. Exciting news first and foremost, though. We have teamed up with Soccer Locker, and they are giving you 10% off if you type in Leggett10 at checkout. So Soccer Locker are the ones who are bringing you all the belter, retro football shirts. Again, with the Euros around the corner, now's the time to have a look. I've got the Italy one, the Holland one. Gary, I know you've got a couple along the way, actually. It's become a bit of a joke between the lads. I'm going to get an England one because I'm getting shit because I want England to win the Euros, but we can come on to that in a minute. But anyway, if you want to have a look at your retro kits, your old school kits, there's some belters on there, then check them out and you get 10% off. You type in Leggett10 at checkout. So again, check them out, Soccer Locker. We'll be doing loads more with these guys over the next few weeks. Right, Gary, we actually done something different this week, which is exciting, something we're going to be doing hopefully a little bit more of. We've done a 30-40 minute podcast, would you say? With Nick,
35 minutes, yeah.
With Nick Pete from Fight Disciples, and also on BT or now TNT Sports. As it's a massive weekend of boxing, so it'd be brilliant. And for anyone on Patreon, you can access that right now. For everyone else, that'll be out at some point on Saturday. But if you're on Patreon, you'll get early access to that. Again, 30-40 minute chat about the massive fight that's going on this weekend. And as you all know, I like me boxing. I'm not the biggest fan. Gary knows a bit more about it than me. And then Nick just takes it to another level. So it was boss to have his insight on it, wasn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. Top lads, obviously. Unfortunately, he's a Reds, but no, he's a top lad. And I just say, it's just great talking to anyone from a sports perspective in particular who just knows a sport inside out. And you can throw anything at them and they'll take it, they'll digest it, they'll come back with something with most of the time an opposing opinion, an opinion that you wouldn't even you wouldn't even think of in a perspective. So it was very much that. And anyone who watches the Sportscast regularly knows that me and Andy have got slightly different opinions on boxing, a different perspective, I guess, as well. And Nick probably sat somewhere in between, but just obviously had that knowledge to back it up.
Yeah, and like you say, his knowledge is brilliant. Like you say, you know a lot more than me, but sometimes you and him are naming past opponents for each fight, and I'm sitting there thinking, but yeah, I didn't really know that, and just a completely different insight. And yeah, just boss for the Sportscast. We obviously having a little shout on it, but then also a bit more of an expert on it as well. So if you are excited for the big boxing fight this weekend, again, go and check on Patreon, and you'll be able to see Nick's thoughts as well. Right, mate, last game of the season. But before we go on to that, one little thing I did want to say. And you shouldn't really laugh and joke because it's someone's life who's, I've never been divorced, but I can imagine it's a pretty shitty time. Did you see Rory McIlroy is just filed for divorce?
I did, yeah. I did.
Now, there's so much talk, isn't it, about him not winning any of the big majors, and he's never quite there now.
He has, but he just hasn't won them for a while. He hasn't won majors.
He hasn't won a majors for however long, but he's kind of. I mean, listen, maybe some golf experts will pull me up on this, but he doesn't seem to be winning. He's always there and thereabouts, isn't he? And there's always talk, which he's never got enough to just get over the line. And then I just saw randomly, he literally filed for divorce the day before he was playing in a tournament. And it just got me thinking, we've all been through relationships, breakups, we've all been through this and that. If he's been having a bad time of his marriage for the last however long, then no wonder he's not been winning any golf tournaments, do you know what I mean? So it's that old saying is that you don't really know what's going on in someone's life when, that front door closes. And obviously, I'm really, really sad for the McIlroys, but they've been having a terrible time. They're now going through this divorce. So you heard it here first. He's going to win a major now that he's got rid of his missus. He's winning a major.
The ball and chain.
No, but obviously, you shouldn't joke about listen, our family's getting split up. It's not nice in that sense, but it did just make me think, the amount of times people are betting on McIlroy or they're praying for him to win, and you don't know, he's going through a terrible time in his own life, and it's just those things that you just don't really know, do you?
No, yeah, it's probably kettles, isn't it? I mean, like, as you say, everyone's been through it to some extent, whether it's, breaking up with your girlfriend or boyfriend, whether it is going through divorce, whether it's going through multiple divorces, and you're never on your A game, are you, when you've got that in the back of your head, or messages coming through where they're kicking off on you, or again, you're arguing over money or you're arguing over kids. It's hard.
And he's got a lot of fucking money. He's got a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, that's it. There's a lot of that on the table, yeah.
As I'm swinging, knowing that I might win 10 million, but 5 it's going to my ex-missus, I probably wouldn't be on my A game either.
Going to take a little bit off that iron just to make sure I only finished 6th and she can't see the prize money.
So yeah, so you're there here first. I think his next big major attempt, I think he's the man to get your money on.
Because he's just stress-free, maybe.
Yeah. Right, mate, let's move on to footy. And listen, I know you're a Blue. I know you're bitter, but we've got to have a little moment to reminisce on Klopp. I'm not saying I need you to, give him all the plaudits and, you need to kind of get on your knees in front of him. But come on, mate, he did bring a lot to the Premier League as well. So we do need to spend a little bit of time on this. Because I want to big your manager up. I think Sean Dyche is in for Manager of the Year. So as we kind of do our little review, I'm going to be nice to you on Sean Dyche, and you've got it at least.
It doesn't matter how nice you are about Sean Dyche. You can be as nice as you want. In all seriousness, look, I've said it before. I think, and this probably goes without saying, I think the more hatred and the more dislike you get from your rivals as a person is probably the biggest compliment you can get. Yeah, you don't hate players, do you, who are rubbish or whatever? Or I mean, Andy Robertson's probably the only exception. I don't think he's that good. He's just a knob. But in the case of Jurgen Klopp, he was an outstanding personality when he comes to the Premier League, and he brought the humanist approach to the management role, which I think was lacking for a number of years. You had the professor in Arsene Wenger, you had Mourinho with his mind games and psychology, but there was always you could never really think on their level, could you? And a lot of the times, even though I've been blinded to some of the things he said, because it annoys me from the place he's coming from, but you get it, do you know what I mean? And you can, when he tackles questions and has a little laugh to himself before coming back, and it's like, Ange Postecoglou's brought a little bit that with Tottenham, but to be that human and then to also be successful immensely and to reinvent the teams, the ways he can to bring that rock and roll, whatever it was called, style press that he brought when he first came. He didn't just come with style as in the way that he presents himself. There was substance there as well. There was style and substance, which is hard to achieve in any walk of life, let alone in football. So look, brilliant personality, outstanding manager. As you shout from the rooftops about, he's been up against it in terms of some of the teams and establishments and powers and money and all that he's been up against. But he's always pretty much consistently, his teams have gone toe to toe with that. So you can have nothing but respect for it on the pitch.
I think that's that's probably the best we're going to get out of him. That was actually quite nice. That I wasn't expecting it. So
I wasn't getting out the way. The rest of it.
Yeah, I'll be deadly honest. Me and Gary were joking a few hours ago on the phone. I have genuinely been like an emotional wreck this week. I was working in Warrington on Wednesday, and I was driving over from Liverpool to Warrington. It took about 40 minutes or something. The Anfield Draft podcast done their interview, and I thought it was perfect for the journey. And about 10 minutes before I got to Warrington, I was watching this Anfield Draft interview with Klopp, and I nearly started crying. And I thought, I need to pull myself together here. I've got to go and do a motivational talk. And I'm really, really sad. My eyes are filling up, big lump in my throat, because I'm just so sad. Really, really sad on a number of levels. One, just because he's just brought me so many happy memories, both as watching a team, some of the football we were playing at times was just, I think, some of the best the Premier League has ever seen. And I don't want to harp on about the things that didn't happen, because there was enough good things for me to talk about. But you take into that season when we did win the league, and again, we joked on the podcast the other week, because again, I think we all forgot really just how far ahead we were. I think it was 20, 25 points or something. If COVID doesn't happen, I think we've got that league wrapped up in March and probably go on and win the league by the most points ever. We're probably getting 110 points or something, which is just unheard of. And you just forget how good we were and some of the football we were playing. I think you look at some of the players he's brought on. I know you're there, you maybe don't rate Andy Robinson, but this is a left back. We brought from Hull, who before we signed him, I didn't really know anything about him, if I'm being completely honest. And he's took him to that level. I don't think Andy Robinson, for all the hope in the world, would have ever thought that he'd have a Champions League and a Premier League medal in his trophy cabinet. And he owes that to Klopp. And I think there's a number of players who are indebted to Klopp. So I think on the football, there was just so many amazing things to look at. Individual nights, obviously the Barcelona, the Dortmunds, a few of the derbies, a few of the cup finals. There's so many there to pick from. Sad that they're going to be kind of gone. But also, and again, which we spoke about a few weeks back, the memories he's giving you just on a social level as well. Some of the nights out you've had with your mates on the back of victories, or some of the times away you've had. And I think Sunday's just going to be a really sad time to just sit around and reminisce on those times with your mates. So it's sad for looking back, but I'm also really sad now because it's that feeling of, we've just been talking about, Rory McIlroy getting a divorce. You'd almost think, am I ever going to love anyone like this again? Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it sounds a bit pathetic because, listen, it's a game of football. It's not like real life in that sense, but it is a lot of our lives, though. Do you know what I mean? We do love it, and in the city, it is huge. And I do think, like, will it ever be as fun, as enjoyable as it was under Klopp? Now, listen, Liverpool will win trophies again. There's no doubt about that. Do you know what I mean? I don't think they'll ever do it Everton and go bloody 25, 30 years without winning a trophy. That will never happen, I don't think. So we will win another trophy probably in the next few years. I've got no doubt about that. But will it feel the same? No, I don't think it will. Unless this time...
Won't feel the same.
Mate, I don't expect you to fully understand because you are a blue, but these 8-9 years, mate, I've been like, I don't think you realise how far off it we were. We were like miles off it, and he took us to 3 Champions League finals, a Europa League final, took 1 league title. He took us to winning the league on 2 separate occasions to the last day.
You're only 1 slip away from winning it under Rodgers, though, aren't you? The Premier League, you weren't that far away. Like, you slipped a little bit down before he took over, and obviously that's why he ended up getting sacked. But
mate, it never that felt when we nearly won under Rodgers. It was down to Suarez because he was just unbelievable. This felt like we were there because
Sterling and Sturridge would have something to say about that. To be fair, they had brilliant seasons as well. Coutinho wasn't bad either.
Mate, Suarez though was the man. Come on, Gary.
Yeah, he was, but I think those other 3 come up with some serious stats that season as well.
They did.
Look, I'm not. Look, we've joked about it. I'm not playing it down, and you deserve your moment to wax lyrical about all the things he's done and that. But I don't know, and I also think as I agree with you in the sense that it's going to take a long time to get over him and replace him. You probably won't ever replace him, but to even come up with someone or a group of people are going to come close to what he's done. But I think what you're referring to, a lot of it though, is just the general relatability and affinity that you had with him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Yes, that's like a bit like what I relate to. It's like working with your best mate. Say you work with your best mate, whether it's in the office or on a building site, and you're doing the same job and whatever, and you have your same like wages and whatever. It's just to have so many laughs every day, and it's never. And then your best mate leaves, and it's like it's the same job, it's the same team we're watching. Like maybe not the same feeling. So maybe you're right.
No, that's a decent analogy. To be fair, like obviously I'm not old enough to have been around when it was Shankly and then Paisley, but I wonder whether supporters felt the same then. I mean, that whether the kind of affinity maybe that Shankly had and then did Paisley follow in the sense, I don't know, but I think even if this new manager comes in, listen, I hope he wins trophies, of course I do. But at this moment in time, again, brings back to relationships. It's like when you think, oh, I'll never kind of meet anyone again type thing. And it very much feels like, how can we ever even think about having another manager? It almost feels like you feel disrespectful just thinking about what the next manager's going to be like. So yeah, mate, clearly I've just told you how I'm feeling, and I'm going to be gutted on Sunday. I'm going to be wearing sunglasses, even if it's raining, because I think I will definitely be shedding a tear or two, and I think most of Anfield will. Yeah, absolutely gutted.
I'm just so happy you can't win the league division. Like all the way you're talking about this now, and it's going to be some
Oh,
occasion. Imagine how unbearable this City would be if you were playing to win the league the weekend.
do you know what's funny as well? You say that. I remember that quadruple season, right? And like I say, it was going obviously all the home games. Done Wembley 3 times. I think I've done 3 or 4 of the European aways. And it got to obviously the end of the season when we only won 2 trophies instead of 4. Like by the end of the season, I was done in. As a fan, I was like, fuck me, mate, I'm glad this is over. So imagine if we were still going for it, mate. It would have been unbearable as a fan just to be like,
Yeah.
you know what it's like. Every day it's consuming your thoughts, and you're just like, oh. So listen, I obviously would love to be given a chance to win it, but it is almost horrible as well. And I'm a little bit glad that I haven't got that. I'm not being consumed by it like I was in the
What do
past.
you mean?
Because yeah. So, but yeah, I'm just absolutely gutted. Yeah, let's move on from Klopp. Otherwise, I'll start crying now.
Just obviously the results to some extent will almost pale into insignificance. Like, what is the atmosphere going to be like? Is it going to be one of them where people are hardly watching the game, just kind of watching the manager? And it's a bit mad, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah. I probably won't be watching the game now. I'll just be staring at that touchline, looking at him because I want to see how he's going to react because he's in his press conferences. He seems very non-emotional. I mean, I seen a clip where he was at Anfield. He was standing in the centre circle and he was in the stand, and it looked quite sad. It reminded me of that Pablo Escobar meme where he's just sitting on the bench looking out.
His little swing.
It had that kind of vibes going. So he hasn't really. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he is going to have a breakdown, but he hasn't really shown any emotions, any tears. So I think everyone is just going to be staring at him, just thinking, how is he going to react? How is he going to cope with walking away from this club? So, yeah, I don't think anyone's that bothered about the match. I think his song will just get sung for 90 minutes. And it's just going to be a great but sad occasion just to watch the big man one last time. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
So
on to teams who can actually win something this season. Well, you have won something that can win the league. Yeah. It's so close, wasn't it, in the week to Spurs getting that goal and setting it up as being a proper Grand Slam finish, because that would have meant that it would have been on goal difference and it would have been a full-on shootout.
Yeah.
I mean, go on.
Yeah, I think probably for the neutral, it would have been nice to have that kind of, City need to score better. Arsenal's up by 3 goals. But like I said on last week's show or the week before, I want City to win it. And, it looks like they are going to win it now because of, and you put it down, like you said, that missed Son chance in the last minute. And I thought Neville's and Carragher's analysis of it was brilliant because City have now potentially won the league in very similar fashion than when they did when Company scored that goal. That was, Carragher described it. That was Arsenal's Company moment. When even again, just literally Carragher's analysis of it, but he was so right. Even if Arsenal win the Prem next year or even the year after, they will always remember that Son 1-on-1 chance. The way Liverpool fans always remember Vincent Kompany against Leicester and that 30-yard strike out of nowhere. Even though we won it a year or two later, you still think we would have had one more. And I think that Son chance will. I think he'll be having nightmares about that for weeks and months on end. Well, saying that he won't because it wasn't so big for him. But let's say Arsenal fans will be having nightmares about it that he didn't score. Let's say.
Yeah, and I mean, what'll be interesting next week actually, and I only just thought about this now when you were talking about Tottenham, etc. Me and you done our Premier League table predictions, didn't we, at the start of the season or in the summer? We can bring that up next week and have a little look at it. I mean, I do know that I got as it stands, I've got the top 3 right in the right order, which is decent. I mean, not that it makes me Nostradamus or nothing. It was a repeat of last season, but
actually, you did. Yeah, you did. To be fair, didn't you? Yeah.
I actually had Villa finishing 5th as well. But I think I had United 4th, which is obviously some way off in the end.
Yeah, we'll have to look back at that, like top goal scorers and things like that. But it's been a great season, hasn't it, for Villa, who did get 4th, and like you say, Tottenham have come up short a little bit there. But with regards to the top 2, I mean, it's all but cities now, isn't it? You can't see them getting beat at home to West Ham, can you? Unless David Moyes can somehow do something for his old mate Declan Rice. But again, even if it's like we were saying, or like the kind of media was saying, even if Tottenham like kind of did want to win, did want to throw the game with it, regardless, they're playing Man City. Like they've only got so much that they can control, and then they're playing Man City. Do you know what I mean? So it's like they're that good, and I can't see anything else but like a 3, 4, 5 goals past what have been a really poor West Ham team, to be fair.
Yeah, funny enough, I actually think we'll give Arsenal a hard time. You could argue, we've got nothing to play for, but I think I made the point after we'd sealed our safety, if you like, a few weeks ago, that although there might not be much to play for in terms of positions now and not being relegated, etc., I think the manager will still feel like he's playing for his job. I know you said, one of the managers of the season, fair point, but there's still large sections of the Everton fans that are like, okay, yeah, we've stayed up, okay, we've done this.
It's madness. It's mad. I want to speak to Evertonians who think that Sean Dyche doesn't. You
can't say that. Listen, just bear with me. You can't say that having how much gone on as much as you have about Jurgen Klopp a few minutes ago. You can't, because you know yourself how important the relationship between the manager and the fans is, and them getting you and stuff like that. He's made some comments this season, and by the way, I'm more of a Dyche fan than I am against him. So I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, but he's made some comments and
like what?
Like for example, I can't. One of the comments, which is just one of the most bizarre things you'll hear come from a manager's mouth, when we went on the run where we hadn't won for like 13 games, and he said, "Look, you're going to try something new." He said, "I don't know anything new." I'm just going to. That's that. I don't know it.
So you're going to base sacking the manager because he said that off the cuff comment?
No, I'm just saying that's an example of one of the comments when there's been comments about, where it's the style of play or whatever. It's not always been, by the way, his comments. I think it's generally the demeanour and the lack of, not interest, but in-game management or whatever. By the way, again, I'm stating it as the fact that it's not nobody, not one. I don't think any Evertonian could argue with the results he's picked up, and I don't think any Evertonian, hands on heart, could say he's not the right manager to take us forward next season. I think the general consensus is, okay, we've got him, blah blah blah. Let's see what he can do next season. However, if in an ideal world, if you had money, if you had the choice, would you keep Dyche? And I think the overwhelming answer would be no.
Honestly, right. Football fans baffle me. It reminds me of West Ham and Moyes. Honestly, it's just like you don't know how lucky you are. I think
we've had Moyes.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying the way West Ham will like get rid of Moyes. Moyes just got them a European trophy last year, and he's viewed as like the worst manager in West Ham's history by some of their fans. Sean Dyche, right? When you saved you from relegation last season, didn't he? You stayed up on the last day. This season, he's got you without the points deduction. You would have finished, 10th, was it? 10th, 11th or something?
11th, yeah.
Like, he's done that whilst having 2 points deductions or 2 kind of fines.
Yeah, he's finished 11th with the points deductions as he's finished. He's finished like 15th or whatever we are. So he's not finished 11th with the points deductions. He's finished 15th with the points deductions. Look, I agree with you. I don't. You preach some years in terms of what he's achieved this season.
But all I think, though, Gary, right, is what a... Listen, I started the pod saying he's got a shout to be manager of the year. I think Unai Emery will be...
Let's not forget, mate, 6 weeks ago, you said we were going to get relegated. So Everton fans weren't the only ones, 6 weeks ago going, wow, this is remarkably poor, this team. This is a remarkably poor team. And when I say a poor team, I don't mean a remarkably poor group of individuals. Are poorly set up, poorly... organised, not organised like defensively, but we had no clue. We couldn't score goals.
Yeah, but you also were the one who was saying, look at our XG. You've got the best defence in the league, or one of the best defences in the league. Pickford's got, I think, arguably the most clean sheets, so he's definitely up there. Definitely. And you had a crazy time where your XG every game was like 3 or 4. was only the fact that you never had a striker who to put them in. You would have been way clear of relegation. So he's doing the best he can with his hands tied. I mean, I just don't know what Evertonians where you think. Listen, you are a massive club. You know, you're one of the kind of founders, and you know, was it the only team never been relegated in the Premier? You've got all that history. Granted, you know what I mean. You're a huge club, but in this modern era, as in the Prem right now, as we stand here in 2024, I don't know where Evertonians in their minds think they should be.
It's not that. It's not. Again, it's not that. I know what you're saying, and I get what you're saying, and I wouldn't compare us to West Ham fans because we haven't won a European trophy. We've won a trophy. If we'd have won anything under David Moyes, it'd still be. I mean, let's get it right. David Moyes would still be at Everton now if he hadn't chose to leave and go to Man United. That job was his until he decided it wasn't his. But you know how what it's like to go on the match isn't always about the results every week. It's about going and enjoying it and feeling like it's a place you want to be. And could I see myself in 10 years' time staring at that touchline, looking at Sean Dyche, thinking, oh, Sean, absolutely devastated. I just can't. And I don't think any Evertonian, hand on heart, can really take to him in that way. And that's not us saying we should sack him. The point I was making is that there's just not that. And I don't think there ever will be that real affinity to him as a person. It's just personality. I don't think you could ever take to it. You know, the great, if you're going great managers, our greatest manager in our history was Howard Kendall. And he was a personality. He went on the ale with the lads and stuff like that. And there was a bit of a Jurgen Klopp about him because he had a bite to him, but also he had a personality. He was likable. He was jokey or whatever. But he also he was a real person. Do you know what I mean? He enjoyed his time off the pitch as much as he enjoyed it on the pitch. And that was admittedly kind of where he got to in his managerial career. He came back because Everton needed him back, but he would rather have been in the pub, which is almost what got to. I don't even know how we've got to this point in the conversation.
But just with the Blues, I just think, you're at the end of the season. I just thought, I would come. I can't believe you have finished as kind of well as you did, and I just think, fair play to Sean Dyche. It was just a question, again, whether you'd have him next year. I know you're a bit more of a fan, let's say, than some, but I just find it bizarre that people would potentially not want him.
No, I don't think there's anyone out there better for the job next season, particularly given the fact that we're probably going to lose 2, if not 3, of our biggest assets in the summer out of necessity. So it's going to need someone with some serious, experience of dealing with that type of, loss. And maybe he didn't do that as much at Burnley because he didn't even have anyone who was worth buying for that much. But generally, he's used to working with a shoestring and getting results as he has when he needs them. And I think it's going to be a lot more of that, unfortunately, next season.
Yeah. Nothing else really to talk about on the 777?
No. I mean, there's been an extension granted by Macheri. I think it probably was a condition that he had to grant, given the fact that they agreed, a sale price initially. So they got till the end of the month to come up with legitimacy of the funds. In the meantime, Vasco da Gama, who are a club that they own, they've had to relinquish their control of Vasco da Gama due to a court order. So Vasco da Gama went to court basically saying, we don't believe that these should be allowed to retain ownership of the club because of X, Y, and Z, obviously unpaid bills, wages, etc. And a court have put an order to say, you're getting your club back. So it's another in the catalogue of misdemeanors against them. So it puts further doubt. I still believe, as I said, maybe controversial last week, that there are other buyers there, and it's almost a case of just waiting this out now, waiting for them to just fall on the sword and for hopefully others to come in and take up the mantle.
In other football news, mate, this week, which was come out of the blue, I think, as much as we moan about it, the Premier League clubs are now going to vote on whether to keep VAR for next season, which...
Wolves forced to vote, didn't he?
Yeah, which is... Listen, I know Wolves had their little kind of through their... What's the old saying? Through your dummy out the pram, and... But I didn't think, through your toys out the pram. I didn't think it'd come to this, though, them having an actual vote on it, and it'll be really interesting now to see what the clubs actually do, because as much as I've moaned about it, and I've been in the ground like you will have been, where it takes 5 or 10 minutes, it's humans, it's the people who are taking this long. It's the technology side of things. It seems to be working okay around Europe, unless maybe because we're not in watching the other leagues week in, week out. Maybe we don't know, but
it's a step. Look, whether you like it or not, and we've talked about, oh yeah, let's get it back to the old. It's a step backwards. Like, it's the equivalent of having CCTV in a supermarket to stop shoplifters and going, oh, we're picking up too many shoplifters now. Let's put the CCTV out and get them chunky security guards back again, just filling people in. It's like, okay, but if that's the modern world, like, it's efficient, isn't it? It should be efficient.
Yeah, I think with VAR, it's something like they've got 96% of decisions right. Before it was something like 85. So it's worked. They're getting more decisions right. I just think there's been that many high-profile mistakes, as in human errors. Never mind VAR, human errors. It's making people doubt VAR, so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with that vote.
What we want and what I want, I'm not saying I speak for everyone, but what I would like is just more clarity around what's going on. Tell the crowd what's going on. Mic the referee up. Right, okay, it's a VAR track, the checking, whatever. Yeah. Give us a bit of a, like, it's just not that, it's the match going experience that I despise more than anything else. The fact you're celebrating that goal, and it's like, what's going on? And you're all looking around at each other, and then it takes someone like up in the main stand who's watching the telly to start cheering, to go, yeah, it is a goal. And it's just like, the people at home, are half in the dark, but they've at least got the commentators going, oh, they're checking this. Because why do the commentators hear it and we don't?
No.
What's that about?
You're right. I would be in favour for keeping it, but like you say, making a lot of changes to make it more crowd friendly, if you like, and a few other little tweaks and stuff, and people better trained on it. But yeah, it's a good analogy you made with the CCTV. Listen, it is better than not having it. It just needs to be worked properly, I think, is the general feeling for it.
Yes. One quick one on other sports, because obviously we've got the Big Boxing podcast, which is available on Patreon anyway. So if you're a Patreon member, you can watch that, listen to it. If you're not, become a Patreon, you minge bag. Just on the darts, obviously we followed it all the way through. Now we're getting to the last week of the normal, the normal format, and it's a really interesting one between two good friends, Nathan Aspinall and Michael Smith. A shootout, really. They've been drawn together in the quarterfinal. Winner goes through, loser goes out. Obviously, whoever wins the night will win the night, and it'll be another interesting one. Little is currently leading the way, and he will go into the final as the leader on paper. But Little, Humphries and Van Gerwen have already qualified, and it's between Michael Smith and Aspinall as to who's going to get the final place. So that'll be fascinating.
And is that tonight? Is it? Yeah. As in Thursday? Sorry, yeah. I should be waiting for that news.
Last night. I mean, Aspinall has got better and better week in, week out. I believe Michael Smith is the better player. If he brings his game to the table, he beats Aspinall comfortably. But Aspinall's grit is hard to deal with. With them being friends, I'm going to go with Michael Smith to edge it.
Well, I'll be watching it tonight, that's for sure, yeah. Yeah, mate, I appreciate this. And thanks again for the boxing pod before. Like I say, not a great deal in football, as it's pretty much all shown up. Bottom of the league, top of the league. I will... Still here. Yeah, I will say a little mention that I do remember saying at the start of this, I believe, but lovely to have seen Luton stay up. And we always knew it was going to be tough for them. I know there is they need like about a 10 or 15 goal swing to try and stay up. So they're probably down, but they were one of the teams I thought it would have been nice to see them stay up. So I'm gutted to see them go down. But and obviously, yeah, gutted to see Man City win the league again. In fact, one thing I will say on that, I was looking at the kind of leagues around Europe, and I think the wider debate now, or what the debate will be over the next few weeks, if City do win it, I mean, I'm sure they will. But there isn't that much difference between the French, English, German and Scottish leagues when you look at it. It's obviously 6 out of 7 now for City, providing they beat West Ham. I think it's 10 out of 12 seasons for PSG. It was, I think, 11 out of 12 for Celtic. And it was something like 10 out of 12 for Bayern Munich. So you think about it, in 70 years' time, there's only going to be 10 teams, potentially 10 other times when the league hasn't been won by Man City.
in 70 years. If you go on the rate at which they're winning the Premier League now, it was 70 years of Premier League football. Man City winning leagues, 60 years of that. It's a joke, isn't it? And I think anyone who tries to say that the Premier League's competitive is lying, because the three teams who've come up are going back down. The gap is getting bigger from those teams that are coming up, and the league is being won time and time again by a club that's got 115 charges hanging above its head that isn't getting looked at. It's again, you could do a whole podcast just on that, but I think anyone who says that the Prem is competitive and is, it's a compelling watch. Yeah, you do get exciting games, and yes, Arsenal have took it to the end of the season, just like Liverpool did. But at the end of the day, they're still the same winner. And I think that's the bigger problem, I think, moving forward.
Fair point.
And on that note, on that depressing point of Man City's winning another title under the cheating bastard Pep, we'll leave it there. Thanks everyone for listening. Join on Patreon, and make sure you give Nick Pete's podcast a watch. It was really good. Really enjoyed it. Enjoy the boxing, enjoy the footy, and let's all have a good cry over Klopp. See you later.